It's hard. It's hard to unlearn so many things. It's hard to choose yourself when you're not used to choosing yourself. Welcome to the Next Best Thing podcast. I'm your host, Aundrea Cline-Thomas. Now, I'm here to help you create a strategy to navigate career and life transitions. And don't worry, a pivot and a plan B are not required. Now, be sure to help your girl out, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, we've made it even easier. Just go ahead and hit the red button on the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Welcome and hello. We've got a lot of new people who are part of this community, and I'm thrilled, just thrilled about it. So I wanted to say hello and allow you to get to know a little bit more about me. For those who follow this podcast that are faithful listeners and viewers, thank you for coming back. It's been a minute since I've done a solo episode. I haven't done one since June. So a lot has been going on. So in this episode, we're going to talk about some new developments here at the Next Best Thing that I want to share with you. I also want to just talk about what I'm working on and kind of catch you up on how I'm navigating my own next and some new lessons that I'm implementing. For those of you that are new, for more than 15 years, I was a local news reporter until I quit in July of 2022. Ever since then, I've been launching into what I'm calling my next. It's just opened up a whole brand new world for me of possibility, of earning potential, and of freedom, honestly. Although freedom not fully in the ways that I thought it would be just yet. I'm still laying a pretty solid foundation. All right, we're going to start with an update. We are expanding some things here at the Next Best Thing. I'm going to launch a newsletter next month in October, but I need you to sign up right now. You can go to the nextbestthingact.com. Again, the name of the podcast, act.com. The Next Best Thing, act.com. Go ahead over, scroll down to the bottom right, and you can sign up to be a part of the newsletter. It will launch next month. I'm just going to be talking about kind of where I am, what I've been up to, additional resources, keeping up with our podcast guests and what they have going on. Also, I'm going to start implementing like transcriptions to the episode. So if you can't watch it or listen to it, there'll be a link to where you can get a transcribed copy of the episode. And as we grow, that will grow. And I just really can't wait. I can't wait to start. It will be bi-weekly. So I will not be, filling up your email. I get plenty of podcasts now or newsletters now. And I will not be filling up your email, but I do want you, I do want to be able to touch base with you even more. So again, if you could sign up for the newsletter right now, and we are going to launch next month for a bi-weekly newsletter. Everybody asked me, all right, so what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I realized I don't really, share a whole lot. And I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, and I've heard on, I think like 2 or 3 podcasts, people reference something that Pinky Cole, who's the owner of Slutty Vegan, that she says that you have to build in public. And I'm always like, what if I fail? Because we're out here in these uncertain streets. I've never done this before. There's a 50-50 chance. But, I just figured that my whole life is one big shoulder shrug. Right now, and if it all goes down, like, it won't be because of the lack of trying. So why not? I'm going to keep you abreast of what I'm doing and building this thing in public. So one of the big moves that I made this summer. So again, I left July of 2022. And in August, I had some like freelance gigs and stuff like that. But in August, I actually got a job, a producing job for this startup, and helped transition this company. I was part of the team to help transition this company to on air, right? Like on a cable show. And I went in with specific intentions. Um, and then I fulfilled those intentions by the spring. And but I stayed on, stayed on, stayed on. It was really, really, really time consuming. I had grown as much as I could grow there. I knew there wasn't upward mobility. There was nothing else there that I wanted to do. Sometimes you go in a place, for a job and you're like, I would like to do that person's job or that person's job or learn there was nobody else's job that I wanted to do there. I had kind of got what I could get. I didn't see growth on the horizon, so I knew it was time for me to leave. And then again, it still took me months to actually pull the trigger and leave. But I did that. So I am 100% fully entrepreneurial on my own. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it was a goal. I said it out loud. I was working with a client earlier this year, and I said it out loud that was my goal, and not knowing if and when or how it could happen. And here we are. Here we are. But now, I always have a few irons in the fire. So, um, right now is actually a pretty busy time because I have a client that is having a conference, and we've been working on this conference since June. I joined the team in June. I worked with them last year as well. They're amazing. And it's going to be in DC. And it's a huge festival with like lots of notable names. My responsibilities, more specifically, are coming up with panels. I'm curating two forums. And so it's multiple panels. One is talking about climate change, from legislation to innovation. And the audience is very educated, very involved. So it's a higher bar than what we would have to do in local news. It stretched me a lot, y'all, because, science was the only class that I did not do well in school. But I got it. I got it. I've learned so, so much. The other forum that I'm working on, and I'm actually tag teaming with another one of my colleagues, who I love. And we're talking about the intersection of healthcare, technology, and equity. So one session's about AI, the other session is about new technology out there that's really transforming the healthcare industry. Again, high level stuff stretches me. I'm a big nerd. So I'm just like, oh, I love learning this stuff. And the guests that I've booked are, pretty notable in the field. They come from tech companies, Department of Defense, Department of Energy, founders, people from academia, like just really wonderful people. It's exactly what I did in local news. It's just doing it for live events. Like, you have your meeting. So it's almost like having an editorial meeting, and then you're deciding on the topic. So I pitched different panels. Then I got feedback on what we want. Hey, let's consolidate these two ideas together. Hey, let's do these two and have these two as a backup, things like that, which is exactly what we would do in our editorial meetings. Then you go execute, and then you find the people that are the best spokespeople for this topic, and you're putting them together. And so now I'm doing moderator prep because I'm not actually hosting it. I'm curating it. I'm all behind the scenes. And then when this happens in 2 weeks, then I'm going to be managing a venue because this festival is in DC, across multiple venues. And so I'm managing a venue. I'm the editorial lead of the venue. And so I'm just making sure that everybody is getting there on time, that, everybody meets ahead of time. If somebody's lost, I got to call to see where they are, things of that nature. Security, all those things. And just making sure everybody has a good time. And I did this last year and I loved it. It really, really stretched me. I didn't even know that this existed. This whole world of live journalism events existed, but all the newsies who listen, that is something to consider, where it is like a one-to-one taking your journalism skills. I mean, because it is still journalism and you're applying it to another medium, another platform. And so that's coming up in 2 weeks. Also, next week, I have a new client that I'm so excited about. Shout out to Janet, who was one of the guests, one of the earliest guests on this podcast. And she hooked me up. She said my name in rooms that I was not in. And so I'm going to start media training corporate executives. And I'm very excited about it. So my first session for this company, for this new client, is next week. So I'll be spending the weekend preparing for that. Very, very excited about that. This summer was very interesting. So the last time I talked to you was around my birthday in June. And I don't even remember. I should go back and listen because that seems so so long ago. I went to the Women of Color and Communications Conference in Miami. So good, so fun. I'm so glad I went. Met really, really wonderful people. And I'm just learning so much about business and the industry and all the different jobs that people have. I was talking to a friend of mine, Jay, who I'm actually going to be on his podcast. So check out my Instagram page because I'll be posting that. I'm going to be on his podcast on Monday, is when that episode comes out. But, I was telling him that, in news, you say you know a little bit about a lot of things and you deal with business and you deal with government, but we haven't worked in that space. We don't even really have so much of a traditional corporate culture in news. And so now that I'm on the other side of where I'm building a business, um, I've never learned so much in my whole entire life. Like, that's the part that I love the most about it, is that I'm learning so incredibly much, but I'm also like, man, news gave me some really wonderful and great skills that I am transferring right now, um, to make real money. But there were also some things that were stifling about it. The idea that the story's never about you, it's always about somebody else, not to have a personal brand, um, not to have a point of view. Don't ever share your point of view. Like, all of that is not good right now in the marketplace. I do think that people need to not just be general and just be there and just be on television, because for 97.25% of people, that won't transfer in the marketplace, because that's not what the market is dictating. They want to know, especially if you want to continue in content creation. Now, if you want to continue and do something else and be aligned with, a corporate entity and in a way or whatever, then, that will be fine. But if you want to have some sort of content creation, you do have to have a point of view. And that's something that I came in and had a deficit, which is part of the reason why I started the podcast anyway, to not only share my voice, but also to find it. So I say all that to say, going to this conference is really good because it really helps me practice. It showed me some areas that I really needed to work on, namely telling people what I do, summarizing it in a captivating way. I'm still working on it. Maybe I'll workshop it with you all on Instagram or something, but I'm still trying to figure that out. But it was really helpful. It's a small conference. It's a conference of women. There were guys there, but it was, mostly women. So it was a really comfortable atmosphere and really, really great networking. Y'all, I was tired this summer. I was so, 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 so exhausted. I was burning the candle at both ends. And maybe that's what you have to do at the beginning. I don't know, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm very transparent about that. I'm figuring this thing out as I go along. And my default is to just work, 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 work. But I was working in the job, and I had clients, and I had this podcast. And so I was waking up and putting the laptop on my lap in bed and going to sleep, getting enough sleep, but working consistently. So now that I have the show off my plate and it gives me a lot more latitude, I'm trying to to not just work, but maybe focus on working smarter, and just doing the things that have a direct return on investment. So what does that look like for me is that um, in the mornings, I do the things that get me money first. And then I go for a walk. The walk will eventually turn into a saunter. And then perhaps if it's if it's God's will, it will turn into a run, but I'm gonna need some divine intervention for the running part because it's not my favorite thing to do. But that's neither here nor there. I'm getting up and moving my body because that's another thing. I work from home now, exclusively, and I look at my phone and it's like you've walked 300 steps, and I'm not trying to die because I adopt a sedentary lifestyle. So there's that. On a kind of somber note, I did this summer was really, really difficult, if I'm being honest, because I had 4 people that I know pass away, 3 of them in July, literally the last 3 weeks of July, like one after another each week. It was somebody else. And then just more recently, another colleague, 2 family members, 2 colleagues. And the last person who passed away is a colleague who had battled an illness for a really long time. And I was very fond of him when I worked with him. And he was out while he got treatment and stuff like that. And so I would send him emails periodically just to check in on him and see how he was doing. And then I heard that he wasn't doing well. So I text him just to let him know that he's in my thoughts and prayers and stuff like that. And then he texted me back and said, I'm afraid that I'm at the end, and your words give me comfort. And, after going to so many funerals, I've never gone to this many funerals back to back ever. The question is, why not now? And it's not saying jump and make rash decisions or whatever, but like, why not now for your joy? Why not now for your happiness? Why not now for your peace? Why not now? Like, why not now? And yes, you have to plan for it. Yes, you've got responsibilities. Yes, you have to be a grown up. But, I just am always checking what are the stories that I'm telling myself that make me stand in my own way. What are the things, it's not saying don't feel it. I always say it's not saying to change your feelings. You're going to feel how you feel, but do it anyway. There's so much that we can figure out. There's so much out there. There's so much we can figure out. If you just have, the work ethic to do it, there's so much, or that you can at least plan for or downsize. But there's so much that culture values that actually does not matter. Like, that does not matter at all. It's astounding to me, listening to how people are remembered, and it has nothing to do with what we value on right now, what culture values, what you see on TV that they say is valuable. Nothing. Not one thing. So why not now? This is like random juxtaposition, it's a random transition, a hard transition is what we call it in news. But I get my hair done, like, I'm awful. Like, I get, in terms of like my hair washed and trimmed and stuff like that, I'll go get twists, braids and stuff like that. But wash and trim, I might do it twice a year, maybe. I'm awful. So because of that, I was dusty and ratchet, right? So there was this new stylist, this new salon I went to, and so nobody knew me there. Like, I'd never been there before. And so, when you sit in the chair and you're ratchet and you're like, Hi, all right. And you just start saying, like, I know. Like, I just wanted to convey that I am fully aware of my ratchetness. Like, my hair broke off in the back. Like, it was a mess. Like, washing my hair, it would just shed so much because it needed to be cut. And so she washed my hair and then blew it out so she could cut it. Um, I didn't even really look at it too good after she blew it out because I knew it was a mess. And I just told her, just cut whatever you need to cut. Like, I don't even care. I'm not holding on to anything. Just whatever needs to be cut, just cut it. And I'll just deal with, just deal with it later. So it's like very short right now. I don't have a style. It's just kind of sitting on top of my head. So I'm very much in the awkward phase, but it's just like whatever I need to do, going back to the basics, whatever I need to do to get my hair back healthy to what it was. In Philadelphia, when I lived there in 2016. Ooh, it was so good. Oh, those are my favorite pictures. 2016 Philadelphia. My hair was the longest it had ever been. It was just really, really thick, just gorgeous. I ain't seen it like that since. Okay. So we're trying to get back there. And so that's kind of my mentality. After I said that, I was like thinking, that's my mentality right now. Cut off everything that doesn't need to be there. We don't need to pretend like there's length. We don't need to pretend like something is what it's not. Whatever it is, I'm going to just have to deal with it head on, cut it off. Just cut it off, cut it out. And that for me has meant people, places, and things. Cut it out. Just get it away. It's not serving me. It's not helping me grow. It's not even, when I say it's not serving me, it's not even about being easy. It's not helping me grow. It's not getting me to where I want to go. It's not how I see myself. And I might be uncomfortable in the process where I keep on wearing this daggone headband and my hair is just standing on top of my head, but it won't be like that forever. It won't be like that forever. But at some point, I just needed to cut it out. And I guess that's my question. What can you cut out? We've had a few guests talk about that. Stephanie Perry talked about it, and L'Oreal Thompson Payton talked about it. What can you not do? What can you just not do right now to make time for the other things that actually matter? What can you not do today? And so I take that to heart. In fact, I take especially the last few episodes, transformative. If you have missed them, oof, I say go back and listen or watch. However you consume this podcast, you have to. It is like, I'm going to have to go back and listen and watch. And I've heard those podcasts over and over again because I edit them. And so I'm there when I do the interview. I'm the one doing the interviews and then I edit it. So I hear it 500 times before you do. And let me tell you what, game changing. Game changing. I always say, like, I'm here to share this with you, but I'm taking notes too. And I'm taking it to heart and I'm implementing a lot of different things and it's changing my life. It's hard. It's hard to unlearn so many things. It's hard to choose yourself when you're not used to choosing yourself. Leaving that job was very much choosing myself, and that is a hard thing to do. And choosing yourself is not always going to be respected or understood, or people will tie a different narrative to it. But the first time gets hard. And I'm just of the opinion that if you keep doing it over and over again, it gets easier and easier and easier every single time. I don't want to hold you. that's all I wanted to say to catch you up on what's going on. I will keep you posted. In the meantime, again, I am launching a newsletter. I don't even have an official name for it. I have an idea. I'm gonna figure that out and share that with you next week. But I'm launching a newsletter. Again, go to the nextbestthingact.com to sign up. Scroll to the bottom corner, and you could just put in your email address. And I can't wait to I just want to build a community. Yeah, that's my intention of just building a community of people who dare to believe that they could live life on their terms and not the life that they have to settle for. And it looks, there's not one way. It looks how you define it, what you want, not what the outside influences tell you. Not the barriers that you put on yourself. You're living the life that you want. So the newsletter is step 2. There's going to be more on the horizon that I'm really excited about. But that's all for now. Always, always, always remember your next is within reach. Even if it seems like it's far away, it's not. Your next is within reach. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you next time.